They see it. You don't. Right now, someone in your life is watching you more carefully than you watch yourself. They track your moves. They study your patterns. They lose sleep over you, and you don't even know why. You walk into a room thinking you're ordinary. They walk into the same room and feel something shift. Something in the air changes, and it terrifies them. You've been told you're too much, too sensitive, too intense, too different. You believed that story. You carried it like a wound. But what if that wasn't an insult? What if that was a warning directed at them? Here's what nobody told you. The people who tried to dim your light, the ones who mocked you, doubted you, abandoned you, they weren't reacting to your weakness. They were reacting to your power. Real predators don't attack the weak. They attack the threat. And you have always been the threat. This video is not for everyone. If you stumbled here by accident, I want you to stay. Because accidents like this don't exist, not for people like you. You are about to discover what your enemies already know, what your rivals already feel, what the universe has been whispering to you through every rejection, every betrayal, every moment of silence when you walked into a room. By the end of this, you will never see yourself the same way again. Are you ready? Your tomb is empty now. Walk out. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, write "chosen" in the comments and subscribe, because what's coming next will rearrange something deep inside you. Part 1. The mirror your enemies hold up. Let's start with a question nobody asks. Why do certain people hate you without reason? You never wronged them. You never competed with them. You simply existed near them. And something about your existence made them uncomfortable, made them hostile, made them want to see you fail. Most people explain this away. They're just jealous. They're insecure. And yes, that's partially true. But the real answer goes deeper, much deeper. Your enemies are mirrors, not the kind that show you what you look like, the kind that show you what you carry inside. Envy is not random. It is precise. It is surgical. People don't envy what they don't believe is possible. They envy exactly what they secretly wish they could be. So when someone looks at you with contempt, with that specific kind of cold dismissal, they are not seeing nothing. They are seeing everything. They see the version of you that hasn't fully arrived yet, the giant still stretching, the fire still finding its shape, and it destabilizes them in ways they cannot articulate. Think about the people in your life who tried hardest to shrink you, the ones who called you delusional, the ones who laughed at your dreams, the ones who told you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept your place. What place were they so desperate to keep you in? The place beneath them. Because if you ever truly rise, their whole identity collapses. The story they tell themselves that they are better, smarter, more deserving, dies the moment you step into your power. Your ascent is their apocalypse. That is why they fought so hard. That is why they still fight. You thought they were attacking you out of cruelty. You thought you were the collateral damage of someone else's pain. But no, you were the target, specifically, precisely, deliberately. Because you are the one thing they cannot afford to let become fully awake. And somewhere inside you, you have always felt this. You just didn't have the language for it yet. Now you do. Keep watching.
Part 2. The wound that was actually a weapon. Here's the cruelest trick ever played on the chosen ones. They were made to believe their greatest strength was their greatest flaw. You felt too deeply, so they told you that you were weak. You saw through people instantly, so they told you that you were paranoid. You burned with a vision nobody else could see, so they told you that you were crazy. You refused to fit into systems that were designed to contain you, so they told you that you were broken. Broken. That word. How many times did you believe it? How many nights did you lie awake trying to figure out what was wrong with you, trying to sand down your edges, trying to become smaller, quieter, less you? But here's what your enemies knew that you didn't. Every single thing they attacked was a weapon. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is a sonar system. You pick up frequencies others cannot hear. You feel danger before it arrives. You feel love at depths others cannot reach. That is not fragility. That is power in its purest, most ancient form. Your intensity is not a disorder. It is electricity. Uncontained electricity looks like chaos, but in the right circuit, it lights up entire cities. Your vision, the one nobody else could see, is not delusion, it is prophecy. Every builder, every revolutionary, every person who changed the course of history was first called crazy by someone who couldn't afford to believe. Your refusal to conform is not failure, it is immunity. You were never meant to live inside someone else's structure. You were meant to build your own. They knew this. That's why they worked so hard to make you forget it. Because a chosen one who doesn't know what they carry is manageable. A chosen one who wakes up is unstoppable. The wound they gave you was designed to be permanent. It was designed to keep you circling in self-doubt, to keep you small, to keep you asking for permission to exist fully. Stop asking. You were never required to explain your fire. You were only required to burn. Part 3. The signs you ignored. You have been receiving signals your entire life. You ignored most of them you were taught to. But look back now, honestly. Look at the thread running through your whole story. The moments where you somehow survived what should have broken you. The times you lost everything and rebuilt from ash and came back sharper, deeper, more alive than before. The relationships that ended, the ones that felt like death, that later became the best thing that ever happened to you. The doors that slammed in your face that were protecting you from rooms that would have caged you. None of that was random. Chosen ones don't have easy lives, they have necessary lives. Every hard chapter was calibration. Every loss was excavation, clearing away what was never yours to carry, stripping down to what is real, what is true, what cannot be taken. Because you cannot be trusted with your full power until you know what you will do when it is tested. The universe doesn't give weapons to people who haven't passed the test, and you have been in the test your entire life. Every betrayal asked you, will you become bitter or will you become wiser? Every failure asked you, will you collapse into shame or will you extract the lesson and rise? Every person who left asked you, will you chase what was never meant for you or will you trust that what is yours cannot be stolen? And here you are, still here. That is not coincidence. That is the lection. Most people quit at the first betrayal, at the second failure, at the third time the dream didn't work out. Most people trade the vision for comfort. They choose the cage because at least the cage is familiar. But not you. You kept going even when you didn't know why, even when you couldn't explain it, even when every logical voice said stop. Something deeper said continue. That voice is not random. That voice is your calling, recognizing itself. Your enemies saw your persistence. It frightened them more than anything else. Because they knew they could not outlast you.
Part 4. What they never wanted you to know. Here is the final secret. The one your enemies guard most carefully. The one they hope you never figure out. You don't need their validation to activate. This is critical. Listen closely. Your power is not something they can give you, and it is not something they can take. It exists independently of their opinion. It has always existed independently of their opinion. The game they have been playing, the dismissal, the mockery, the subtle undermining, the constant reminders of your failures, all of it was designed to make you believe your power was conditional. Conditional on their approval, conditional on their recognition, conditional on fitting into a story they wrote for you before you were old enough to read. And the cruelest part? You were taught to seek validation from exactly the people most threatened by your power. You brought your light to the people most terrified of brightness. You asked for permission from gatekeepers whose entire authority depended on keeping the gate closed. You tried to explain your vision to people whose world would end if that vision succeeded. And when they didn't understand, when they dismissed you, when they called you arrogant or delusional or too much, you believed them. You went back inside yourself. You dimmed the light. You made yourself presentable, acceptable, safe. And every time you did that, they won. Not because they were stronger, but because you handed them the power that was always yours. Here is what changes today.
You stop asking. You stop explaining. You stop carrying the weight of people who were never built to understand you. The chosen one does not convince their enemies of their worth. The chosen one simply becomes undeniable. You don't argue with people who can't see you. You grow until you are impossible to ignore. You don't beg for a seat at tables that were never designed for someone like you. You build a table so extraordinary that the people who rejected you one day ask for an invitation. Your enemies know what you're capable of. It is time you knew it too. This is the moment. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier, not when someone finally sees you and gives you permission. Now. The tomb they built for you out of their doubt, their mockery, their silence, it could not hold you. You are still here. That means something. That means everything. Every chosen one in history passed through a moment of complete darkness, a moment where everything said stop, where the evidence said give up, where the people closest to them said you were wrong about yourself all along. And the ones who changed the world were the ones who looked into that darkness and said, no, not yet, not me. I was not built for a quiet disappearance. I was built for this. So hear this now. Your sensitivity is your superpower. Your intensity is your engine. Your refusal to be ordinary is your destiny, not your defect. And every enemy who tried to bury you was unknowingly paying you the highest compliment they could. You were worth fighting. You were worth fearing. You were worth the effort of trying to stop. They couldn't stop you then. They cannot stop you now. The tomb is empty. The stone is rolled away. And you are walking out different than you walked in. Don't you dare shrink again. If this video reached something real inside you, subscribe right now, because this channel exists for exactly who you are. More truth is coming, and you need to be here for it. Walk out, chosen one. The world is waiting.